How's it going, Cedar Rapids? I should start with saying that we are the Cedar Rapids Home Guys. I'm Aaron. Jay's actually on the iPhone taping this right now. But I'm here with Kelly Clinton of Housemaster Home Inspections. I got it out that time. We're actually at an inspection right now. It's a very nice condo, by the way, on the west side of Cedar Rapids. I have done inspections with Kelly for almost 3 years now, probably. We've done a lot. I can't even remember how many, but I always appreciate your professionalism.
Thank you.
I think you do a great job of breaking down some of the technical stuff, and explaining these terms and these issues to people. I always like to be at the inspections. That's why I'm here right now, and Jay is also here. At the very end, you do a summary. You take, 3 hours? Is it about 3 hours?
Yep, about 3 hours, and I'll spend about the last hour with the buyer, and we'll just go back over the house together.
Yeah. And so at the tail end, we do a summary where we show up with the buyer, and you review the things that you've found.
Yep, we'll just go back over the whole house together and talk about everything.
We go through the house and you point out the issues. I do have a few questions for you.
Oh boy, here we go.
You think I could memorize 4 questions, but I just want to touch on your background. I know your background, but would you like to tell people what your background is?
Sure. Yeah, I absolutely can. Well, previous to what you already know, I started doing framing and siding.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, right. Some new info today.
Wow.
And during that job, I actually saw some electricians working on the houses, wiring them, and that kind of inspired me to become an electrician. So I went to school for that after I was doing framing and siding.
Right.
And then electrician for about 10 years. Always knew I wanted to start my own business. My parents were entrepreneurs.
Cool.
And always knew maybe electrical wasn't my end game, but I knew it was going to be a good stepping stone to somewhere. And so from there, I started my own, I bought my own franchise, Housemaster Home Inspections.
Cool. And that's been how many years now?
7.
7, wow.
Yep.
The other question I had was, so we kind of already touched upon this, but home inspection takes about 3 hours. And then can you kind of give people an idea of all the components that you look at of a house, or the parts of a house you kind of inspect?
Sure.
And I know it's plumbing and some other parts.
I really like to start outside. By being outside first, I can tell where everything is going to be at inside. So I'll start on the roof. I'm looking to see if there's bathroom exhaust fan vents up there, if there's a furnace or water heater vent, things like that. Then I'll go around the outside. And from there, I'll see where the electric meter is. That's going to tell me direct relationship in the basement where the panel is, along with air inlet and outlet pipes to the furnace. That'll tell me right about where the furnace is. So I get a lot of information from the outside, and then come inside, check all of the windows, plumbing, electrical, attic, just about everything from top to bottom, and spend about 2 hours doing that, depending on the size of the house. And then the buyer will come and we'll spend about an hour going back over everything together. Yeah.
So then we essentially review it. You send us a report. Typically, it's almost always the next day or the same day on occasion. And then the buyers and the agents get together and they review that report. And of course, if you have any questions, I've definitely called you on occasion to maybe explain something in greater detail. I mean, just because I want a better understanding before I go ask for an item to be repaired or corrected.
Yep.
So
I always tell people it doesn't end at the inspection.
Right.
I'm always there to answer any of those questions after their inspection.
Right. And where your inspections are to discover serious defects. I mean, you do touch on some other things. I mean, you bring up other things, but the whole point of an inspection is to locate safety and hazard type of issues and items.
Right.
But I know you touch on a lot of other things, but that's generally speaking, that's kind of the whole point of an inspection.
Yep, absolutely. I feel you spend, a few hundred on the inspection, and that is kind of an investment to save you thousands. So you're spending a couple hundred to save potentially thousands. And that's kind of the way I like to look at it. Some people look at inspections as expensive. And really, when you really weigh it out, what you're saving, it really does make sense to have it done.
Absolutely worth it. And you don't want to buy a house and have to invest a lot of money immediately into issues,
Especially surprises.
Right. You don't need surprises. I will say that I've never had anyone call me back and say that that inspector of yours missed an item. So that's good, right? I mean,
Yep.
and we're all human, and I'm
Yep.
sure that can happen. But I mean, I think we've done dozens upon dozens of inspections together, you know,
Absolutely.
as a team or whatever. And yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've
that's
been
great.
very lucky to not get
yeah.
many of those phone calls in the past 7
It's
years.
gonna happen.
So, yeah.
I mean, you know, everyone's human. You're probably going to miss things. I mean, I miss
For
things
sure.
in my job as well. You
Yeah.
know, and hopefully people are
Understanding.
yes,
Yep.
understanding, right?
Right.
Hopefully. And so along that line, the other thing I wanted to mention is you can order all the inspections through you.
Correct.
And I often do that. One, it's convenient, and two, I think it's honestly, if you piecemeal it, so the other inspections would be typically a radon and a termite, a pest inspection. And if you order these things separately from different companies, and you know, just based on my math, it's going to be more expensive. I mean, just the companies that I use, you know.
Yep.
And for you, you know, you have the equipment, you have the radon meter. What's the thing called?
Yep, the radon monitors.
Okay, right.
Yep.
And then the radon, briefly just touch on that. I think it's a 24 or a 48-hour deal, right?
It is.
Okay.
Right.
You can
And
tell them
so-
about how that works. And
Yep, and so a lot of people ask me about radon. What is it? What does it do? So there's a substance called uranium in our soil. It's really prevalent in Iowa. When that breaks down, it emits a gas called radon, and it's the second leading cause of lung cancer behind smoking. We have a lot of concentration of uranium here in Iowa, so it's
Yes.
always a good idea to do that radon test, in my opinion.
It is, and I think the thing takes a reading every hour and then gives you an average. Is that how it works?
Every 30 minutes.
Every 30 minutes. Oh, okay.
Yep.
So I am finding in recent days, some lenders are requiring it done now.
I'm seeing that too.
And
yeah.
if it's high, if it's above the EPA recommended, you know, whatever it's called, four parts per liter or something. Picocuries, yeah.
Per liter,
Then they're
yeah.
actually mandating that a system get installed, a mitigation system. So just FYI, as of March 2021, that seems to be a trend.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's going to be a matter of time before they mandate that, like everything else, you know, like a termite or you know, things like that. So I just feel like you might as well get it done, and you might as well mitigate it, because it's hazardous.
Yep,
you know?
it's hazardous, and the test itself is not expensive, so there's really no reason not to do it.
And so the last question I wanted to touch on is, can you think of like 2 or 3 like the most common issues you encounter in a home inspection?
So I notice a lot of sellers, especially if they're home when I started inspection, they'll be like, you're not going to find anything.
Right.
I hear this a lot. What I go through and find typically that a seller's not aware of is leakage. People aren't crawling under their sinks. They're not touching their shutoff valves on their water lines. So a lot of leakage goes unnoticed by a lot of homeowners, and that's probably the biggest thing that I find.
Very true.
Another thing that I see that a lot of people selling their house don't typically see are some leakage stains on ceiling, so maybe some unknown roof leakage.
Right. And you have a meter that can detect that.
Correct.
Yep, which is great.
Yep.
You know, that's really all I had. I mean, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with us, Cedar Rapids Home Guys, today. And
Absolutely, my pleasure.
look for future videos. We're gonna try to do a video once a week of local businesses, and it could be all over the board. We're gonna do restaurants. We're gonna do. I have an interview lined up with someone who does framing, like picture framing. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Thanks.